sir. Please remain standing and raise your right hand. Do you solemnly state that the testimony you may give in the cause now pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please be seated. Please state your name for the record. Spell your first and last names.
My name is Dennis Hicks, Dennis Hix.
Mr. Hicks, good morning.
Good morning.
Let me provide you with some introductory instructions. First of all, please sit back and relax. Okay? But not too far back or you'll go backwards. You may want to scoot up a little closer to the microphone.
I got my knee hooked under here. So
okay. Sometimes it's better to scoot up just a little bit. We need to hear you, but you don't have to speak right on top of the mic.
Gotcha.
If you're called upon to provide yes or no answers, answer yes or no rather than slang which can be confusing. And lastly, please wait until you hear an entire question before you answer it. It's important that we don't have people talking over each other, even though we think we may know what the answer is going to be to a particular question. All right?
Gotcha.
Thank you. Direct by the defense. Mr. Chernoff.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Hicks.
Morning.
I met you last night for the first time.
Yes, sir.
Is that right? And where do you live?
I live in Banning.
Banning.
Half hour short of Palm Springs.
Okay. Did you drive in?
I did.
When did you drive in?
I drove in yesterday.
Okay. How long have you lived in Banning, Mr. Hicks?
About a year.
Okay. And prior to that, where did you live?
I lived in Las Vegas.
Okay. What do you know the man sitting here to my left?
Mr. Conrad Murray.
Indicating the defendant. Dr. Murray.
How do you know him, Mr. Hicks?
When I moved to Las Vegas, a couple years after I'd been there, I bought a home. And it was right next door to his children. So when I was there going through my walkthroughs and all, I met him one day at the house. He introduced himself, told me he was a cardiologist, and we got his number and went from there. I needed one because I have heart problems. Have had for a long time.
What year was this?
I believe it was either 99 or 2000.
And you said you had heart problems. What kind of heart problems did you have?
My heart was blocked. Half of my heart was blocked off. I found that out by going to a doctor down where I live, down near Fontana. He gave me an angiogram. Okay. And told me I was very lucky that my little tiny veins that grew around the blockage. I wasn't too happy with that. I wanted him to fix it. So
when did you find this out?
That was approximately maybe 2 or 3 years before I met Dr. Murray.
All right.
Maybe even more.
So did this cardiologist do a procedure and fix your problem? Or?
No, he said it couldn't be fixed.
Well, how did that make you feel?
Well, I told him I wanted it fixed now while I'm young enough to, to be able to recuperate from it. And he got angry with me.
Can you explain what you mean by that? Were you being...
I'm going to sustain an objection under 352.
What treatment did you receive?
He gave me some pills. I believe it was a Tenorol was the name of it.
Okay. So when you moved to Vegas, you already had this pre-existing problem.
I did.
Tell me the symptoms that you were experiencing as a result of that.
I don't get symptoms like normal people. When my heart starts blocking up, I get a feeling in my jaws like I just sucked a lemon. So if you ever get that, watch it.
Well, yeah, don't speak directly
to
the jury. The witness is indicating on either side of the jawline?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
And what about your breathing?
Oh, I couldn't hardly walk to my mailbox because it was downhill. So to come back was a strain.
All right. Now, at some point, did you then call Dr. Murray?
Yes, approximately maybe 2 months after I actually moved into the house. I felt like we needed a doctor there in Vegas, and we had his card, so we called him up.
All right. And you scheduled an appointment with him?
I did. I explained to him what my problem was, and I explained to him that the other doctor said it couldn't be fixed. And he said, I can fix that. And he did,
And this was in 2000?
roughly. And I'm not real sure if it was 01, 2000, or 9. I just know he fixed it.
So after Dr. Murray said, I can fix that, what procedure did you get, or were you involved in that fixed it?
I went into the hospital. He does his procedures all at once. He gives you the angiogram, and if there's something wrong, he fixes it on the spot. So when he gave me that, he found out that I was indeed blocked, although he already knew that because he gave me tests that showed my heart. And he took the x-rays and he said, here, this is where your heart is blocked. And I could clearly see that my heart was all blocked. And then when he was done, he gave me 7 stents the first month. And then he showed me I've cleared this half out with the x-rays. And then approximately a month to a month and a half later, he gave me the final 6 or 7. And when he was done, I was good to go.
And this was
Approximately 2000, 2001.
11 years ago.
Yep. Yes.
What, if I were to ask you if you had an opinion about whether Dr. Murray showed patience and loyalty to his patients, would you have an opinion about that?
I would.
What would that opinion be?
Well, I'm 66. I've gone to a lot of doctors, and I've never had one who gave me the care that he did.
What about greed? Is he a greed?
When I went to see him, I had a type of insurance that didn't hardly pay for nothing. And I explained to him I can't really afford to do a lot of stuff, so he did it for me free. And then after I got my stents, it's kind of funny, my brother said, I want those. I want some of those.
The objection sustained. The answer remains. The partial answer dealing with the brother is stricken disregard.
Your brother is, what is your brother's name?
Jerry.
Jerry. Was he experiencing physical problems with his heart?
Before I did. He never had the money to get it fixed. He didn't have insurance at all.
Did your father have these heart problems as well?
I don't know. My father died real young. My mother did, though.
So your brother, when he was experiencing these problems, did you suggest that you take him to Dr. Murray?
He suggested I take him there. Once I got fixed, he told me, I want some of those. I want those in me. Because he had a real problem with angina since he was young.
All right. So he went to see Dr. Murray with you?
He did.
And what was his... You were there with him at the time. Can you tell us what transpired there?
Dr. Murray said, you need to go to emergency. You're playing with your own life. And he said, I can't afford to. He didn't want to lose a lousy little house. He didn't want to lose what he had to go into a hospital with no insurance. So Dr. Murray said, okay, don't worry about it. I'll treat you free until you can turn 65. And he did.
Thank you very much. Pass the witness.
Colonel, thank you. It's cross-examination by the people. Mr. Walgren?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Have you maintained contact with Dr. Murray since your treatment in, I believe you said 2000?
Well, yes, because I'd gone to see him after that also. I got the stents in 2000, but he was also my doctor. When I got sick, I'd go see him.
And he was was he your next door neighbor? Is that what you said?
No, his children lived next to me.
He did not?
No.
Did he?
No.
Thank you.
And when did you said you continued to see him as a doctor. Did that care continue all the way to 2009? Or?
It did.
And did you receive a letter from Dr. Murray telling you he was going to be closing his practice and going overseas?
I did.
And did he explain to you why he was doing that?
The letter was self-explanatory.
Well, it says he was going on a sabbatical. Did he tell you any other details?
No.
When did you learn that he was going to be Michael Jackson's personal doctor?
I didn't even know it until I seen it on TV.
So he never told you that?
No.
So he just sent you a letter and you got it in the mail and it said, I'm no longer your doctor, I'm taking a sabbatical?
It wasn't quite like that.
What can you explain?
Just a moment, please. The objections, one moment, please. The objection sustained. The last answer is stricken disregard. Re-ask, please.
But you never had verbal communication with Dr. Murray about that. Is that accurate?
I did have verbal confirmation with him about it.
Okay, but he just didn't mention Michael Jackson.
Correct.
Okay. And then you got the sabbatical letter saying he was going to take a leave because a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity arose, or something to that effect, correct?
Exactly.
Now, in your care with Conrad Murray, again, it was all for your heart and it involved these stents,
That was partially it, yes.
and he did very detailed care. He monitored your heart,
When I was in his office, he did.
took x-rays,
He sent me places to get x-rays.
kept medical records.
You'd have to ask him. That's above my scope.
Well, you commented that you had x-rays and that you commented that he monitored your heart, correct?
Yes?
And when was the last time Dr. Murray put in a stent?
I believe it was around, he put one more in after the first 13 or 12 or whatever it was. A couple years later. I was exhibiting,
I'm just at, when was the year that he put in the last stent?
I don't know,
Can you estimate for me, please?
approximately 3 years after my first one, which was in either 2000, 2001.
Okay, so the last time he did anything as far as a stent in your heart was around 2003, is that fair?
Or 4, yes.
2003.
Or 5, I mean, boy,
I'm sorry?
it could have been 4 or 5. It could have been anywhere in there. I didn't really mark it on my calendar.
Okay. But that was the last time he had done any heart procedure regarding these stents?
Yes, he still treated me for other stuff after that.
Did he ever treat you for sleep disorders?
No.
Drug dependency?
No?
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Mr. Walden, thank you. Mr. Chernoff, redirect.
No, Judge, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh,
Mr. Chernoff, may Mr. Hicks be excused?
Yes.
Mr. Walden?
Yes, thank you, Your
Mr.
Honor.
Hicks, give me a moment, please.
okay.
Please don't discuss your testimony and the facts of the case with any other witness until we finish the trial. And now you may step down and leave, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Walgren? Mr. Chernoff?
Okay. Can we take a break? Is it possible for us to do that?
Can I ask you to see counsel for a moment? A pause, ladies and gentlemen. That refreshes. Mr. Chernoff, you may call your next witness.
It's Ruby Mosley, Judge.
Thank you.
To the witness stand for us, please.
We can have one of you.
Debaters.
Watch your step there, Mrs. Mosley, if you would, and Mr. Chernoff will assist.
Ma'am, can you please raise your right hand for me? Do you solemnly state that the testimony you may give in the cause now pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Please state your name for the record. Spell
Ruby.
your first and last name.
Okay, Ruby Mosley, Mosley.
And Ms. Mosley, how's your first name spelled?
Ruby.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Let
How
me
are you?
provide you with some introductory instructions.
Okay.
And these are instructions I give to every witness in every case. The first instruction is to please relax and sit back.
Okay.
The second is to speak loudly, and you've got a microphone in front of you. So just speak in a loud voice. The microphone's sensitive enough, it'll pick up your voice without you having to strain. The third instruction is to answer questions yes or no if you're called upon, rather than using slang. And the last instruction is to please wait until you heard an entire question before you even start to answer it. A lot of us are used to interrupting each other because we think we know what's being asked, so we want to shorten things. But it's important to just wait for that whole question and then respond, so we don't have people talking over each other. Is that acceptable?
Fine.
Thank
No
you.
problem.
Direct by the defense. Mr. Chernoff?
Yes, Judge, thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Ms. Mosley.
Good morning.
We have spoken several times before, haven't we?
Yes.
Can you tell us where you live?
I live in Houston, Texas.
And how long have you lived in Houston, Texas?
Since January the 1st, 1949.
And you moved there from where?
I moved there from Mahare, Texas, a little oil field town between Houston and Dallas.
And then you subsequently went to college at Prairie View?
I went from Mahare, I went to Prairie View College. And on January the 1st, 1949 is when I went to Houston, but I continued to go to school.
Where in Houston do you live currently?
I live at 862.
Not
The-
your
okay.
address. Just
We'll strike
In the
out
Acreage Home area.
We'll strike out the numbers.
Okay.
yeah. Just what community?
Acres Home Community.
All right. Can you tell us what Acres Home Community is? What kind of what kind of community that is?
Oh, I'd be happy to. Acres Home Community is a approximately 75% senior citizen area. Most all homeowners. We have 3 colleges, 3 school districts.
Pretty large area?
Yes, it is.
And how long have you lived in Acres Homes?
Since 1949.
And you seem to know it pretty well.
Yes.
Are you involved in any of the associations there?
Oh, yes. As a matter of fact, I started voting in 1949 when I became 18 years old. I had to buy what was called then a poll tax receipt. I've never stopped voting. One of the
Just
biggest...
a moment, please. Yes, the objection will be sustained.
Okay.
The answer, lived since 1949, remains.
Yes.
Everything thereafter is stricken. Disregard the remainder.
All right.
The next question, Mr. Chernoff.
Yeah. I'm actually interested in whether, I understand you're secretary of an association there with Acres Homes. What association
right?
is it? Is that a yes?
Yes.
What association, Ms. Mosley?
Acres Home Citizens Council,
Okay. And how long have you been a secretary for them?
over 31 years.
Okay. And what does this Citizens Council do?
Okay, the Acres Home Citizen Council is a organization that is comprised right now of 15 civic clubs in the community, and it was organized over 31 years ago.
Overruled. The answer will remain. the question.
During that, tell us, you've explained that Acres Homes is mostly senior citizen. What is the economic makeup of Acres Homes?
Objection relevance.
Overruled. You may answer.
The Acres Home is mostly seniors, but they're low income.
Okay. Is it
75% of them are seniors, low income.
and has it historically always been a low-income community?
No, it has not been, but now it is.
Okay. And how long has that been the case?
Oh, God, that's been over 30 years.
Okay. In this particular community, do you have consistent medical care?
Yes, I do.
And I mean the community itself.
And the community itself.
Okay. Now I want to talk about who was the gentleman next to me, Dr. Conrad Murray. Do you know him?
I know him very well.
Indicating Dr. Murray, the defendant.
Yes.
And in fact, you know his father.
Yes.
How do you know his father?
Objection relevance.
Sustained, 350 and 352.
When did you meet Dr. Conrad Murray?
I met Dr. Conrad Murray in 2006.
Okay. And how did you meet him?
He opened a clinic. His dad, well, the first time I met him was 2003 because his dad passed away and we met him then.
Okay. And his dad, did he live in Acres Homes?
Objection relevance, Your Honor.
Sustained,
How did you know his father?
Objection relevance.
sustained. Met the defendant, Dr. Murray, 2003 after his father passed.
So you met him at his father's funeral, was your testimony? Is that right?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And then in 2006, you say you met him again when he opened a clinic.
Yes.
Where was this clinic?
His clinic was on Tidwell across the street from Doctor's Hospital
Do you
in Acres Home.
do you know the circumstances of that opening of that clinic?
Objection relevance, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't have to answer.
Okay.
Thank you. That partial answer will be stricken. Disregarded.
Miss Mosley, let me ask you this. Do you think Dr. Murray's greedy?
Do I think?
Yes, ma'am.
No.
Do you have an opinion about whether he is?
If this man had been greedy, excuse me, Judge, if this man had been greedy, he never would have come to an area or community of Acreage Home, 75% of them poor, on welfare and Social Security, where he was making less than where he was in Vegas.
Well, Miss Mosley, why did he do it?
Why did he do it?
I'm sorry. Pardon me? What?
Why did he do it?
Objection calls for speculation.
The objection sustained to the form of the question. There's a little partial answer which is stricken. Disregard. Re-ask.
Do you know why he did it?
Yes.
Why?
He made a commitment to the community that he would open a clinic in honor of his dad to come to the community and continue to take care of the patients in that community where his dad had been a physician for a number of years.
How many years was his dad a physician?
Objection relevance, Your Honor.
Overruled. You may answer.
His clinic was opened in 1968 on West Montgomery.
And he died in 2003.
Yes, sir.
Did that leave a vacuum in the community?
Yes, it did.
Miss Mosley, have you ever been treated yourself by Dr. Murray?
Oh, yes, I have.
And what was that for?
I had a blockage in my heart.
And this was in your arteries, is that right?
Yes.
What procedure was given to you by Dr. Murray?
Stents were placed.
And they were placed in your arteries.
Yes.
Has your husband been treated by Dr. Murray?
Oh, he was my husband's doctor, yes, before I was.
Okay. And what procedures did Dr. Murray do for your husband?
He was treating my husband for the same conditions that I had before I started going to him.
How old is your husband?
How old is he?
Yes, ma'am.
My husband is 82 years old.
And he is back in Houston?
He is in Houston.
And
He's still living.
He's doing all right?
He's better.
Okay. I'm going to pass the witness.
Chernoff, thank you. This will be cross-examination by the people. Mr. Walgren?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Good morning, Ms. Mosley.
Good morning.
Now, you would see Dr. Murray in Houston regularly
Yes,
when he would be out there?
yes.
Did you ever meet one of his female friends, Sade Anding?
It doesn't ring a bell with me.
No? Did you meet social friends of his, or was it more at the clinic where you would see Dr. Murray?
I saw Dr. Murray at the clinic seeing patients.
Okay, so you don't know what he did in his personal time, correct?
That was not an interest to us, no.
So that's correct.
Yes,
And Ms. Mosley, you described in your interview with, I believe, Mr. Chernoff, you described Dr. Murray as an encyclopedia, right? That was your word?
I didn't use the word encyclopedia.
Can I show you the notes from your interview with Mr. Chernoff? Yes?
We have to hear it a yes or no.
Yes.
All right, thank you. See if that refreshes your memory, Ms. Mosley.
Okay.
Thank you.
These are my notes, right?
Just show the witness something, see if it refreshes her memory or not, and we'll find out.
Ms. Mosley, this line here that I'm pointing to.
The witness is being shown a document.
He is an encyclopedia.
No. You don't have, just read it
Okay.
to yourself. The partial answer stricken. Disregard that.
Ms. Mosley, does that
What is this word?
very
Well,
knowledgeable?
And when you say very
I'm
knowledgeable.
asking you, does this refresh your recollection as to what you told Mr. Chernoff?
Yes,
Okay. So did you describe Dr. Murray as an encyclopedia?
very knowledgeable.
Very precise on details?
Yes,
Okay, able to recite details regarding medical care?
yes,
Past appointments, things of that nature. You can recite the care that's been given and the plan of action for future care?
yes,
And in that respect, would you call him an encyclopedia, detail-oriented?
if that's the word you want to use, I would call it very informed doctor.
And able to recount and recite details as it relates to medical care?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Mosley.
Mr. Walgren, thank you. Ms. Chernoff, redirect.
Ms. Mosley, what do you mean by very knowledgeable?
What do I mean by very knowledgeable?
Yes.
Very proactive,
Proactive?
very,
For
extremely,
What do you mean?
very knowledgeable, very proactive, and took time with the patients.
During the period of time that Dr. Murray, after Dr. Murray opened his practice, he would come every 2 weeks, is that right?
Yes.
And would there be lots of patients to see him?
Oh, yes.
What was it like?
Sustained. Refine.
What was it like?
Well, that's what
Okay.
we're going to find out.
Do you understand the
Mr. Chernoff
question?
means.
You do understand the question?
Yes.
It's not vague to you?
I'm sustaining the objection.
Oh, okay. How do you know that he had lots of patients?
How do I know?
Yes, ma'am.
Because most of the time I was there.
You saw it.
Yes. And we knew 99 and 10% of the patients that were there
How did you know?
because we worked with them.
Okay. You, during the time that you spent with Dr. Murray, when you were able to see him, did he take his time with you?
Very.
Did he explain things to you?
Yes.
How well?
To the extreme that when you went to the doctor in his office, you did not see a sign when you walked in that say, pay at the time services rendered. You did not see a sign that said, present your ID or your insurance card. You saw the doctor first. And with the doctor, not only were you with the doctor, but the doctor sat there and talked with you and let you tell him about your problems, but he did the education first. the education included assisting you and how and the do's and don'ts of better taking care of yourself.
How long did these appointments usually take?
Oh God, they could go an hour.
No rush.
There was never no rush, and other patients were waiting. He saw every patient and given them equal time,
No matter how long it took.
no matter how long it took, and we didn't rush.
Do you miss Dr. Murray?
Do I miss him? Yes.
Just a moment, please.
Objection relevance.
The objection is sustained. The answer is stricken. Disregard, please.
That's all I have. Thank you, Ms. Mosley.
Okay.
Mr. Chernoff, thank you. Recross, Mr. Walgren?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. May Ms. Mosley be excused, Mr. Chernoff?
Yes, thank you.
Mr. Walgren?
Please.
Thank you. Ms. Mosley, I want to thank you for your testimony.
Thank
Ms.
you.
Mosley, please don't discuss your testimony or the facts of the case with any other witness
I will
until
not.
the trial is concluded.
I will.
You may step down carefully. You'll be assisted by one of our deputies. You're excused. Thank you, ma'am.
You're more than welcome.
Thank you. May I see counsel? Ladies and gentlemen, as I'm used to doing, I'm going to explain to you that we have another scheduling issue. I became aware that this was a definite scheduling issue early this morning, right before we took the session. So what we're going to do is we're going to excuse you for the rest of today. Once again, I don't know for sure about these scheduling issues until they hit me, and this particular scheduling issue was made abundantly clear this morning. We have made arrangements to try to get you lunch a little earlier, so I hope you can be hungry, or else you can take a doggy bag. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the recess, and again, it's with my apologies because I would rather be efficient and have you here the whole day, but regrettably we can't. So once again, I continue to thank each of you individually for your patience in this matter. I'm going to deliver to you the admonition. It's usually the late afternoon admonition, but it's going to be the mid-morning admonition at this point. It still has the same impact. Please do not discuss this case among yourselves or with anyone else, or form or express any opinions about the case until it is submitted finally to you. Do not visit any scene or location that may be referenced, mentioned, or involved in this case. Do not perform any experiments or on your own or through another person conduct any independent research or investigation on any topics, subjects, or persons mentioned or involved in this case. This means not coming into any contact whatsoever with any television or radio programs, newspaper or magazine articles, books, or the internet regarding these subjects. Don't watch anything, hear anything, read anything, or write anything about any of these topics, subjects, or persons mentioned or involved in the case. Do not access on your own or through another person any internet websites, including but not limited to any search engine sites such as Google, Ask, or Bing, or social network sites, including but not limited to Facebook or MySpace, Gesundheit. Regarding any of these topics, subjects, or persons, text or tweet anything about them, access any blogs, access any messages, post any messages on any sites regarding any of these topics, subjects, or persons. Do not have any contact or communication whatsoever with the defendant, the attorneys, witnesses, or spectators. Don't allow anybody to speak to you about anything related to this case. If anyone attempts to speak to you or tries to establish any contact with you regarding any of these matters, so that at the time or at a later point in time you can contact a person or organization regarding these topics, immediately cease such encounter and immediately notify the court staff and the security as well. Do all of you continue to assure us and promise us you will follow unhesitatingly the written admonitions as well as my continuing verbal admonitions? Yes. All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I wish you a good lunch. With regard to the rest of the day, if you have business or professional responsibilities and you feel the inclination, by all means go for it. If you have personal responsibilities, by all means undertake them. Enjoy the rest of the day. We will be ready for you tomorrow morning at 8:45 a.m. And again, thanks for your patience and enjoy your day. Thank you. Good day.